All right, continuing our talks with people joining in at DoCamp in Dubai. We're sitting here in Knowledge Village, and we're joined by a guest from far away who has not exclusively come for DoCamp, but he joined us today and heading back this afternoon. He's saying it's Arun from Muscat. You can find him on Twitter as Arun4, A-R-U-N and the digit 4. Thanks for joining us here at DoCamp.
Very exciting to be here. Thank you very much.
This is the second DoCamp or bar camp in Dubai. Did you go to the first one?
No, this is actually my second bar camp, but my first in Dubai.
And do you have this in Muscat? You're doing bar camp?
We haven't had a bar camp in Muscat. But maybe next year.
So what's your expectation? What is it that you want to experience here today?
Well, the fun thing about bar camp, as I understand, is that everybody comes, participates, has their own session and things like that. So it'd be very interesting to see people from different walks of life talk about technology, media, and other things.
All right, as I said, you're based in Muscat and you work in advertising.
Yes, I
so
work
and you're also very active on Twitter and other types of social networking. So what is the social networking scene like in Oman, in Muscat?
A couple of years ago, forums and blogs were pretty much popular in Oman, especially in Arabic. But then Twitter started getting a lot of attention. We have a very small number of users, say probably around 100 to 150. But the kind of things these people do gets covered a lot because it's a very small country, and the media is kind enough to give a lot of attention to these things. For example, we just participated in our first festival in March, and it was an event that got a lot of coverage. And even a lot of clients are stepping up into social media. I think a company started a corporate blog 3 years ago. And when they started off, they were like wondering, what other kind of results we are going to get out of it. But today, it's one of the most visited blogs in the country. And probably, you take any client, for example, a tour of Oman. One important thing is that Oman's fortunes are tied a lot to tourism. So it is very important that anybody who's in that space be very visible. And social media gives a lot of opportunities for you to be visible.
Do you want to mention that the corporate blog?
Kimji Ramdas, kimjiblog.com. It's a leading FMCG. They're into a lot of things, a lot of brands, and for that matter, even Oman Air, who's the national airline of the country, they've just entered social media. They have a Twitter account, they have a blog, and I remember that when they bought in a new fleet, they even invited bloggers to come and experience a flight on the aircraft.
Very interesting. So you're saying that companies, corporate interests are taking more of an interest in social networking. Why do you think that is? You mentioned that there's not that many bloggers and people on Twitter and stuff in Oman, but they're influential. Is that the main reason?
Influentiality is one thing, but one more thing I see is that Facebook is very popular out there, and a lot of them are more active on Facebook. You can see a lot of brand pages coming up. For example, Burger King. We used to have Burger King a couple of years ago, but then they closed down, and then they're coming back. I think May, this month they will be launching. The store is not yet open, but I think there are almost 3,000 fans, which is pretty big for Oman.
So you would say Facebook is more popular, in Oman than in other Middle East countries, or?
I think that would be the trend, right? Facebook, a lot of people are on Facebook in this part of the world.
So Twitter hasn't caught on in the same way. Why do you think that is?
Well, firstly, I guess it has to do with the population, the kind of digitally active population. I'm sure like there are 3,000, would there be like 3,000 Twitter users in Dubai, but not more than 200 in Oman. It takes a little time for them to get used to the technology. And getting friends on board is also another thing. I would have a bigger network on Twitter, on Facebook, but it's difficult to build a network on Twitter.
Is language also an issue? Maybe Arabic is more important for users in Oman than it would be in other Middle East countries, or?
But I kind of feel that people who are using digital media are kind of savvy in English also.
Okay.
I think Twitter is just catching up. There's a lot of buzz around Twitter, but Facebook is silently catching up because college students and the kind of population.
Okay. So if somebody approached you in Oman, they're a medium-sized business who wants to get on with social networking, they've been told that we have to do Twitter, we have to do Facebook and all those things. What are some of the first suggestions or tips you would give them?
I would firstly ask them to look at their website, because that's really more important than social networking. I would make sure that their websites are good. I mean, in English and Arabic, the contact forms are working, the basic stuff, and then I would advise them depending on what is their business. For example, sometimes it doesn't make sense for a business to be on Twitter. or on Facebook. Maybe a blog would work them better. But I would advise them not to jump into it just because other people are doing it. That would really come soon.
Okay, sounds like exciting times for social networking in Oman. Thanks very much for joining us, and have a safe trip back.